Okay, this next section, identification of generic, so general things that repeat, general characteristics and genres. Well, if we look, say for example here, so in terms of this, it's still a point and click, so it's still exactly the same, still with the same 9 command terms, still with the same graphical user interface with the inventory with graphical items, still with sort of, I don't know, cartoon-like graphics as well. A little bit better in terms of graphical pixelation. There's less pixelation, more detail within the graphics. And as we've said before, then you tend to get a little bit more perspective, a little bit better movement, a little bit better control. It was actually the last game, however, to use this interface. From this point on, the games developed a right-click and actually used gamepads as well, which came in at that time after 1993, to be able to get rid of some of these controls and use right clicks then to be able to access a pop-up menu. You gained a bit more screen, so you got full screen rather than 3/4 screen, which gave a little bit more, better gameplay in terms of visuals on the screen, because everything was full screen and you'd lost all of this, and the inventory too was via a right click. However, it was a little bit clumsy to use a right click all the time and then scroll through the menu with a right click, and so you actually, in some senses, although the visuals were better because you had full screen, the characters and the backgrounds, and the game appeared full screen without this command term and inventory here, it was a little bit clumsy to actually access this. Some would say that with it being here prominently on a kind of footer at the bottom of the screen, it's easy to access. So a little bit of debate then about whether this was a good thing or a bad thing, and the development of a right-click pop-up menu in the future actually enhanced gameplay or took away from gameplay. To then move on to repetition and difference. So again, I think we've talked about this. Repetition, same point of view, same 2D or 2.5D, 9 command terms, point and click. The difference being that in the future this was the last time that they did that, and they used a right click to maximize the visuals on screen. A difference is now, I suppose, that we've got time travel, and so we're far less linear. We've talked about that, about things in the past, present and future affecting each other, being able to swap items between past, present and future, and actually switch between the 3 different characters in each of the 3 time periods as well. One difference about this game as well that you wouldn't know from looking at it is that it was the first of the series to be released on CD-ROM. Previously they used a media called a floppy disk, which is now defunct. So the CD-ROM came into effect from this point, and you'll actually find that more information can be stored on a CD-ROM rather than a floppy disk, so that's why there's a lot more detail and a lot more narration, a lot more music, a lot more speaking parts as well. It's packed full of media, and some of the pixelation is reduced because they can put more graphics onto the disk.